My Cricket failed.
Cricket failed.
Actually, no it didn't. The failure lies in a faulty setup. First, I'm going to show you how to set your Cricket up if you want to have success every time and sleep wonderfully no matter where you are. Then we're going to show you how to set it up if you want certain collapses. When you first put your stand together, like here, I've connected my legs together to keep the legs from falling out of the hub. The stand is exactly where it wants to be. So you can just kind of go like that, and if you look, it's a trapezoid. Both of the end legs are pointing outwards, and you have a nice peak. So I guess it's a trapezoid with a peak. So I didn't come to this shape by accident. It took months of getting just the right angles to get everything to work perfectly. Like just 1 or 2 degrees off and it changes everything. So what I'm saying is your hubs are already machined to the exact angles that everything needs to be at. Don't fight it. It's like I said, when you put it together initially, like I haven't connected my diagonals yet, just right where it sits is where it wants to be. Keep this shape when you start connecting your lines. On flat ground, this is the exact shape you want to keep. You don't want to pull the legs in. You won't want to wrench down on anything. You just want to gently connect everything. And then when your weight's in it, everything will just tighten up and it won't move. You pull it until you take the slack out of it and no tighter. Now everything's taut. If you look, maybe even a little loose. All you're doing is tightening up just enough so this hook doesn't come unhooked. And then I'll put my hammock on and you'll see how the peak rises a little bit and everything tightens up. And then I'll move side to side and show you how it's locked in place.
Cinnamon, what are you doing?
Also keeping in mind 30-degree angle on your suspension. So you don't want your suspension to be here, you want it to be there. And right there, you're square up your thumb and your index finger, and that's 30 degrees. As a standard recommendation for most hammocks, 30-degree lay is considered optimal, so that's what this stand was designed for. So when there's no weight in the Cricket and it's not staked down yet, you should just be able to move it like that a little bit. I get that makes some people nervous because it seems wobbly and unsafe, but that's exactly what makes it safe. See, I'll get in it and you can just watch everything tighten up. What'll happen is you'll see the ridge raise a little bit and just pull everything taut. And when I sat in it, everything tightened up. So when I move side to side now, everything's stable and you're not going to go anywhere. You're safe and secure. So again, what you're looking for is just how it is when you first plug it together before you hook anything up. You're looking for flared out legs, you're looking for a nice peak, and those are the two main things. So now I'll show you how to make your setup potentially fail. So the first shape we're going to make that you should never make is a pentagon. I'll show you what you don't want to do that. I'm just going to tighten the heck out of these diagonals because it makes it so my stand doesn't wiggle and I feel safer. So I'm just going to tighten the heck out of these. I'm going to really wrench on them good, suck them all in tight. Now I have a pentagon. So I'll get in it and I'll be able to get away with this on like perfectly flat ground. But as you can see, just wobbling side to side, you can see it moves more. So when you slide down in your hammock and you go to pull yourself back up, it creates a lot of lateral force. And if you're already in a pentagon shape with your stand, it's really simple just to force everything over. So if you wake up in the middle of the night on the ground and your bin piece is broken, you know what you did.
You know what you did.
You know what happened. Your stand went like this. So there's a right way and a wrong way to set up on a hill. There's a pretty substantial hill behind us, and I'll show you what you want to do. So when setting up your cricket stand, you always strive to have that hub level with this hub. That's your goal. The more offset the hubs are height-wise, the more you're going to have to know how to work your stand to have a good time in it. So when setting up on a hill, obviously, you don't want your stand to run this way. You want your stand to run across the hill this way. So I hope it shows on camera how steep this hill is. Watching off-road videos, I know it probably doesn't. But so we got 7 inches of adjustment in each leg. So what we're going to want to do is raise this leg up. So if you look straight across your hubs this way, you're aiming for level. And if you look, they're pretty dang level. And that's a pretty steep hill. Once you do that, your stand always wants to be where it wants to be. This hub is level this way, and these hubs are pretty close to level this way. So all you do is pick your stand up, drop it. That's where it wants to be. Do the trapezoid check. That leg's out, that leg's out. Everything's level, and then just set this up, and remember all you're doing is just tight enough so the hooks don't fall out of the loops, and you're golden. There, now I have everything hooked up. It's not super tight, but it's tight enough where it's not going to fall out. And I'll sit in it and I'll wiggle around and show you. Well, straighten out my hammock first. There we go. Everything's nice and tight. So I can reach out and touch the hill. Right. That's almost straight out.
Cinnamon selfie.
Move this stand lengthwise on a hill like you're not supposed to set up, but if you have to set up on a hill like this, I'll show you the best practices. So the diagonals are not hooked up yet. That hub is not quite level, so I'm going to raise this leg a touch. Okay. Now these hubs are both level this way, and if you look, this hub is out past that foot, so I'm going to try to pull this out and get that foot so it's this side of the hub. And once I get it there, I'll hook up both of these lines on this side and just pull it snug. Now if you look here, this is at an extreme angle this way, so what it's actually trying to do is push your stand that way. So this is the rare case that you actually do pull your cordage tight, because what we're trying to do now is we're going to try to pull these legs so they're in line with the hub straight up and down, so that it's not pushing your stand downhill. So you'll hold on to the ridge and then you'll suck the leg in like so. And do it with this leg as well. Now that you've done that, Well, I pulled that leg a little more than this leg, so I'll try to get them even. There we go. Now if you look, this leg is almost directly beneath the hub. And if you come down to this side, this leg is slightly out from the hub. And that's what you're looking for. Typically, if you're going to set up like this, you want your head end, most people want their head end lower, so your head end would be down here. But as you can see, that made it stable. If you're not super comfortable doing this, what you can do also is guy the high end, the uphill part of your stand, guy it out. And I'll show you real quick how to do that. If you're running with a hill, you're going to want to guy out your high end part of the hill. And to do that, you can use our multi-purpose tie out, or we just put together a bunch of these. These are a Namaclaw with Dyneema, and you can just hook it right on the hub and put a stake in. In this scenario, it's just important, like the more weight that you're going to put on the downhill side of the hammock, the more beefier of a stake. So ultimately, you just want to make sure no matter what, your stake's not going to pull out of the ground. There's a couple ways you can hook this. You can just go right around the hub and feed it back through itself. And then you just come uphill and put in your stake.
So hard to see that line on camera.
Here's the line. And that's going to hold your stand from parallelogram down the hill.
Parallelogramming.
Parallelogramming down the hill. Parallelogramming is bad. Now I'll just pull this stand further up the hill just to show you what you can get away with if you're a daredevil. And then honestly, you still got to get comfortable in your hammock. So we're all the way on the hill. So we moved it again, so we're going to want to take off the diagonals on the low end. So now if you come over here and look, we're definitely at parallelogram or pentagon, so we're definitely past the point where we should be. So now what we're doing is we're relying completely on the stake to hold the stand in place. So that's why it's important when you do this to make sure that the stake will not pull out. But there you have it. It still works, still stable, won't fail as long as your stake stays in the ground. And honestly, that wasn't a very big stake. That was just a cheap little Coughlin 8-inch stake. So if I'm doing this and I want to sleep soundly, I'm going to use a bigger stake. So I'm not recommending that anybody sets up like this. I'm just showing you that if you do know how to operate this gear, you can manage to set up almost anywhere. So we realize this is an expensive stand, but it's also a very technical stand. It's a great tool. If you were to buy a mountain bike with a full suspension, you're going to take the time to learn how to work all the gears and when to lock your suspension in and when to unlock it to get the most out of your mountain bike. I mean, you wouldn't buy a guitar and not learn how to tune it and expect it to make beautiful music. This is the exact same thing. You're gonna study it. You're gonna actually be aware of what's happening. like especially making sure you don't parallelogram. You're just going to take the time to learn your stand, and if you do that, you'll be able to hang almost anywhere. Make the most of your money, make the most of your investment, and take the time to learn how to operate your Cricket, and you'll love it, and you won't have any failures, and it'll just be nothing but great adventures.